Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to APU live seminar session on post-COVID-19 higher education and career. So my name is Long from Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, APU. For those who have been following us, our series, yes, I'm your host for today. Today is our sixth session, which is going to talk about rethinking university life as a youth student by our alumni, Wong. We still have a few more sessions coming out until 15 July, which will cover in the field of fintech, digital marketing, actuarial. So do visit our website at www.apu.edu.my and follow our Facebook page for more updates. So also visit us on this weekend. We're going to have open day on Saturday, Sunday, 11 and 12th July from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So becoming an entrepreneur is one of the dreams of many people. Many of you might be still wondering what your future is after graduated from university. So today we are proud to have Wong here with us to tell you more. He is an entrepreneur, online strategist, and youth advocate. He is listed on the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list and also recognized as one of the top 10 new generation business leader in Malaysia. Hi, welcome, Wong.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Long.
Yeah, sure. Okay, over to you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are tuning in fine. I know it's a rainy afternoon. You could be feeling a little bit lazy wherever you're at, but thank you so much for deciding to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes with me, all right? I promise I wouldn't take too much of the time, but if you're watching this and you're listening to it, fine. Please do like this particular session, send in your likes, send in your hearts, send in whatever, say hello in the chat so that I know that you're listening. I know that you are tuning in, okay? If not, I wouldn't know whether you're listening to me fine or not. But once again, thank you so much and welcome to this particular session that I'll be sharing with you on how you can actually redefine your entire university life as a student itself. But before that, have you ever come across, right, where people actually tell you that, or maybe you think so, that university is actually a waste of time? I hope I don't get thrown off this particular session right now just because of saying this, because I know that many of us that went through university, or even myself sometimes, I do question whether have I actually made the right decision enrolling into university, going through all these courses, whether does it even make sense to spend the next 4 years, studying something? Will I even use some of these things that I'm learning? If you are listening to me right now and you see this quote that you see on screen, and you think that relates to you, let me tell you that you are not alone. Many of us have went through it and actually felt that this is the thing. However, is it really true? After all, there are a lot of examples out there, right? I'm sure you have heard of stories of millionaire or billionaires even being very successful, although they have dropped out of university. They tell you that college is not important, degree is not important. But today, I really want to challenge that thought a little bit. You may think it's a waste of time, but what I really want to talk about is that, is it really? After being through that, after doing all these different things that I've done, is it really true that universities are basically a waste of time? See, many of us go through university just relating it as a place of study. When we enroll, when we sign ourselves up for a course, when we go through it, we always think that it's just a place to make friends, attend some activities, get a degree, have some fun throughout this entire experience. After all, we are always waiting for the university life, right? So we look at the campus, we look at the friends, we look at the environment, and that pretty much defines the university life. But is it just like that? At one point of time, I actually thought the same as well. As I completed my high school right before going to university, I always imagined that college and university would be this glamorous life, that I can walk into classes that I want, I'll just do the things I like, and it'll be fun every day. But I also know that at one point of time, when I remember very clearly during my foundation year in university, I realized that things could be different for me in uni. Somehow there was this day that clicked into it that made me realize that, hey, uni life does not need to be the same. Uni life does not need to be just like that. And that's what I really want to talk to you about today, to share with you what I have found and really rethinking university life as a student. I've always believed that as you in university right now, your next 4 years are the most valuable things in life. This is the time where you can do so much, just that maybe right now you don't understand the opportunity that you have. You don't understand the situation they're in because it's a very valuable time. But let me tell you how this came about, at least for me, because something clicked in me during my foundation years. Once again, as introduced, my name is Jen. And my journey as an entrepreneur really started off when I was actually about 17 years old as I enrolled into college for an IT degree. So as I was in there, a few things happened, right? So I normally I would just join and I'll be very excited as a student, right? It's a new environment, new friends, never really been a lecturer before. It's so cool. The classroom is different. You dress up differently. You go into classes. But one day I realized after attending a few series of classes, I realized that, hey, one day I will graduate from this place being exactly the same as the thousands or if not hundreds of people around me within the same course or within the same campus. Now, I don't know which campus or which uni that you're from, or maybe you've graduated, but I'm sure you can relate to me that at one point of time, you were in a class of 30, 40, 50, hundreds of people within a uni where everybody has the same goal. Everybody wants to graduate. Everyone wants to get a good job. Everyone wants to stand out. Everyone wants to get a first class. Everybody just wants to do well. But then this question came upon me on how would you, Jen, how would you be different from the person sitting beside you in class? And that got me worried a little bit, to be honest. When I started thinking about this, I asked myself, well, very simple. If I would like to do well, I just need to get a first class honors, right? But what stops my friends from getting a first class honors? After all, I'm not the smartest kid in class. I didn't got straight A's in my high school. I was just a very average student. So how could I actually compete in terms of results? How do I even compete when it comes to doing assignments or picking good group members? I don't know any of these things, right? I'm just another ordinary student. Yeah, I thought, okay, never mind. If I can't beat them in academics, maybe I could beat them in activities, right? Maybe I could put myself up to different clubs, different after class activities, just to put myself out there so that I can put that additional line in my CV, or I have that certificate that can help me get a better job. Then again, the thought came, well, these clubs are open for every other student. My classmates can join them too. My seniors, my juniors can join them too. How would this actually be different? Even if you become a president of a club, so what, right? It's a position where another person can compete for and also acquire. I thought, okay, maybe that's fine. Maybe not clubs. Maybe to stand out from my peers, I would actually need to do some part-time job, gain some real life working experience, right? Plus, I can get some additional allowance from it. Why not? And when I started looking at the different types of part-time jobs available out there, it's the usual. Now, nothing wrong with any of this, but what I found was the usual: giving flyers in events, distributing stuff by the roadside, or even it's to sell insurance or to sell some MLM products, to do all these things. And then the same question came: look, these are jobs that, yes, pays a little bit, gives you some sort of experience, but again, how different or how much of a significance this part-time job could be for you versus your peers. And that got me into a position that I really wanted to be different. And that's where the decision came that, hey, why not I start my first business? Why don't I start doing something that I love, something that I enjoy, something I don't mind putting the extra time on top of my studies to do something different that my peers will not be able to replicate so easily? And that's exactly what I did. So since then, at the age of 17, I started my first company as introduced, I was from APU at one point of time, and I started my first company while attending classes, right? So it was very small. My dream back then was to start an IT company that sells hardware, right? Nothing fancy. It was just a computer shop selling hardware. That's the extent to my dream. But I knew I didn't have the money to do it. I didn't come from a very wealthy family. I didn't get $1 million to just go start a company. I didn't have any of that. So I pretty much just started off in a service-based business, trying to help my friends speed up their computers, formatting computers, and just did all of these smaller things. But since then, I've started 8 different companies within the region, whether it's in e-commerce, whether it's in Facebook app development, whether it's in consulting, whether it's in fashion. That's where I've just started some of my businesses in. And since then, I've also have now focused on this particular company called Open Minds. It's a marketing technology company based in Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Currently, we have bootstrapped from the very, very beginning. This means that we did not raise funds, but currently we are valued close to about 5 to 10 million in just a short span of 8 years, and we've still been growing very, very strongly. In the recent years, I was a nominee of the EY Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for 2 years, and also recognized as the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. I'm also a TEDx speaker twice in 2 different occasions. Recently, something very exciting happened as well. Recently, I also launched my first written book that's written for students and entrepreneurs that wants to use digital to create their own journey, to be able to be more noticeable, whether it's a first job or whether to even progress in the job. I actually created or finished writing this book in the recent days even, and to put this up. So for those of you that are interested, you can contact me separately after this or go to the link that you see on screen. But today, it's really not so much about me. I want to spend the next 30 minutes just focusing on the 7 things I found extremely valuable in university that you may think it's nothing, that you may think it's on the side, but all these 7 things actually contribute to who I am and where I am at today. Just 7 things, and then wrap up, we'll go into time of Q&A. So if any questions, please keep it right to the end. And if you're still listening, please do leave something in the chat. Give me a like, give me a heart, whatever it is, so that I know that you're still tuning in. And I tell you the truth, some of these 7 things I'm going to share with you today, I sometimes wish that I knew it earlier, I discovered it earlier, and not having to go through it and then find out on hindsight. But here's the first thing. The first thing that I realized very true for me is that these forced activities that sometimes you go through in your university life, right? Whether it's group works, whether it's subjects that you don't enjoy, whether it's presentations, whether it's the interviews that you need to conduct, the research you need to go through, the technical skills that you need to pick up, that you sometimes wonder, why are you doing this? Or sometimes when going in, you actually wonder, why are you even grouped with such a members that you don't like, they don't even do their work? Why am I grouped with them? But you're forced to do it, right? And sometimes as a student, we always feel that we are being dragged by our lecturers, they don't understand, why do I do this? I don't even want to do this in the future anyway. But let me tell you this, these forced activities, whether it's presentations, whether it's group work or subjects you don't even enjoy, are actually great opportunities for you to discover your strengths and weaknesses. It is through these forced activities, right? I realized a few things. I realized that, hey, I can't really do maths. I did a computing degree. There are a lot of maths subjects. I realized that numbers aren't really my best. Even worse, accounts isn't my best. When we were forced to do accounting subjects, I struggled balancing the credit and debit. I didn't know what a P&L was. It was hell. But at the same time, I had to do it. And when I had to code for projects and do websites and create systems and all that, that's where I'm able to discover what I can do good in, what can I do bad in. And interestingly, very interestingly, when I was going through my entire university life, I actually really believed that I was terrible in presentations. So if back then, if you were to meet me and you tell me that, Jen, one day you'll be doing a webinar like this, or one day you'll be speaking on a TEDx stage, or one day you'll be speaking to a crowd of 5,000, which is what I've done last year, it's impossible. I'll tell you that it's crazy. There's no such thing. It's impossible, because the Jen back then, right, was a guy where when it's time for group presentations, I will never be the first one to put up my hand to say I want to do it. I'll always be the one doing the introduction and then the one saying thank you. The in-between will be all given to my friend, because I hated every part of it. But it was through these forced activities, I actually discovered what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what are the areas I need to be improving in, what are the areas that I actually need support from my friends. That's how I actually went through it. Now, the second thing is that many people downplay the importance of your classmates. Now, if you really think about it, your college or uni life is the time where you get to meet different people, right? And you are actually exposed to this group of friends for your next year minimum, if not the next 4 years. And it's a great time that even through group activities or even within your classes and group assignments, to find out who you should keep in touch with and who you should not keep in touch with. Now, it sounds very, very crude, right? Like, hey, they are friends, how can you say that you choose who to keep in touch with, choose who to not keep in touch with? But I tell you the truth, this whole university experience, right, is a great chance for what I call a friend selection process. It's a time for you to weed out friends. It sounds really crude, I know, but really, you think about it, 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, after you graduate or after you have went on with your jobs or you've started your own companies, you want a group of friends like-minded. You want a friend that's able to understand and support you. You want friends that's able to encourage you and actually know what you're going through. This means that not everybody you meet in your class right now will become your friends and for life, right? So by actually working with them, not only you know who will become your true friends over time, what I like the most is that through group assignments, you'll be able to find out what are the type of people that you're able to work better with or not work better with. That becomes a filter, so that when you join the workforce back then, or the next time when you graduate, or when you join a company or start a company, you actually know what the type of people you should hire, what are the type of people you should not hire, who are the people you want to work with, and who are the people you don't want to work with because of your experience with them. Plus, if you have went through the forced activities that I just shared earlier in my earlier point, This also gives an opportunity for you to know what are your weaknesses and who you should have on your team to help you. So these group assignments that you hate, right? Especially random group assignments that I can also recall the times back in when I was in uni. I also hated when a lecturer said that he or she will determine who my group members is. I hated the fact of that because I know certain team members wouldn't be able to help me do well. But through those forced experience, I then know, all right, if I'm in a group like that, this is how I should handle it. And if I graduate and one day I want to look for friends I can count on, I'll definitely not count on them. In fact, I can only recall 3 instances, all right, really just 3 instances where I decided to go out with friends. Out of my 4 years in university doing my degree, I only went out 3 times with my friends. Now, it's an extreme example. I don't necessarily promote it and to say that you should do it, but these 3 times I remember very clearly. One is to watch a movie. Twice we went out to the mamak. That's about it. In 4 years, right? Only 3 times I hung out with my friends. The rest of the time, I was busy building my businesses. I was doing assignments, of course, but I was picking my friends very, very closely. And interestingly, after many years, after I graduated, you know what? The company that I'm in now, Open Minds, is founded with 3 other friends that were from my class. We graduated, all of us went our separate ways. I was running my own business. They went on to work into different reputable companies. But many years after, when I've started Open Minds, when I looked back and thought, who can work well with me and who do I want on my team that we can actually build this company together? Guess what? I reflect back on the classmates that I've worked with, so I knew who I was going for. But it's not just your classmates. In university, right, it's a time where you can build your network in advance because you actually also don't know who might become who in the future. Someone could become a celebrity, could become an influencer. Somebody could be a future startup billionaire or tech mogul that you do not know, right? But on top of that, you need to know that in your uni classes, it's not just about your immediate friends. It's not just about your peers, but you're also exposed to your juniors, your seniors, your lecturers, everybody else that's on campus. And this is the only time in 4 years, this only time within 4 years that on a daily basis, you can be exposed to thousands of people every day within the same vicinity with a common goal. Never in any other part of your life, you'll be in the same situation for you to be able to build that network in advance. Imagine your 4 years of networking. It's very different right now, right? Sometimes when I look back right now, when I go out for business networking, when I go out and hang out with friends or to find new people to work with, right? We go into events, the event probably lasts like what? 1 day, some half a day, some a couple of hours, and expect you to meet these hundreds of people out there. And within these events, it's also very difficult to actually really get to know somebody or to work on a project together because everybody's busy, everybody's there for an agenda. But when everybody's on campus, really just going through student life, right? The mindset is very different. That allows you to connect at a different level. And you should really use that opportunity to build this network in advance. You should not waste this precious opportunity within this 4 years. Then comes very quickly to my 4th point, right? The fixed timetable. Now, this is actually my favorite point of all, and I believe very strongly in this. Some of you that are tuning in, I recognize some of your names. You've probably heard of me sharing with you this before. I'm going to share with you again because this is the only time, the only 4 years that your timetable is fixed. The time is fixed. You are not tied to an employer. You are not tied to life. You're only tied to your school. Think about it. At which part of your life, right, you ever enjoy this period of time again where you know what time your class starts, what time your classes end, how long is your break in between, when is a midterm, when is your assignment due, when is your exams going to due. All these are usually given to you upfront, which is in a semester, right, 3 to 4 months in advance, where you can plan 3 to 4 months in advance and your time won't change. Because when a school sets it, usually it stays maybe 80% the same. And the fixed timetable allows you to plan in advance and do a whole lot more. Apart from just studying and getting good grades, which by the way is very important, but this allows you to actually plan those free time to turn it into something more valuable towards yourself. Think about it. How much time do you spend on, let's say, watching a Netflix series or gaming? Maybe 15 to 40 minutes per episode and whatnot. If you watch a drama, maybe an hour. And if you're just going to hang around a mamak somewhere, it's probably 3 hours or more. You have all these pockets of time that is used for entertainment and relaxation that could be converted into something even more beneficial. For example, discovering your passion. For example, picking up a new skill. For example, connecting with somebody from the industry. Or what I like to talk about the most is to start a business. You see, many people think that in college, you are so busy with assignments, you have no time. I say that's really a stupid thing to say. In college or in university, you have the most time on planet Earth. These 4 years is kind of like God sent for you to try all these things I've mentioned about, to discover new things, to learn what that you're truly good at, to pick up a new skill, to just go out and talk to people rather than just sitting around wasting time, waiting for last minute assignments and just rushing for it because of the fixed timetable. And if you think that after graduation and being in a stable job will help you do this better, I tell you that's also pretty much nonsense. I'll tell you why. Because my next point talks about being a student, you have much significantly lower commitments. This means that you don't really need to, you probably don't have a loan to pay. You probably don't have kids, you don't have a family to look after. You are really just 100% locked on to your own survival in college, in uni, and your only responsibility is to do well in your studies, right? Once you graduate and join the workforce, different pressures, different expectations comes. For example, you may need to find your first job immediately after you graduate. You get your first job, you enroll into it, now your time is committed, right? You don't have a fixed timetable anymore. Most jobs require weekends and overtime and all that, and you're committed to it. And if you don't adhere to the time, your manager, your bosses just comes hammering down on you, right? So you're committed to that. And then you may say, okay, fine, let me earn some money, maybe when I become a manager, then things will be better. Years pass and you become a manager, things will start go better. By the time you probably be married, you probably have kids, you have a family, you have different types of commitments. As you grow older, your commitments increase. So there's no better time than really to do it now, where you have a fixed time, you have a fixed commitment, where you have lesser risks to be able to start what you really, really want to do. Now, many people also say that, hey, Jen, that's all good, I like hearing all of this, but when it comes to passion or what I want to do, I really have no idea. I have no idea what to do. I have no passion. I just think that I'm wasting my life away. Where can I start? Let me just give you a tip right here, right now, right? If you're listening in, whether live or it's a replay, and you're wondering, how do you ever discover your passion? Very simple. The answer is to try. Use this free time of yours to go out there to explore. Use this free time out there to get new experiences instead of just sitting behind screen, watching YouTube videos, playing games. Yes, those can be something good at the side as well, but don't spend all your free time doing that. Use it to discover. Just think about it. How did you even know that you enjoy playing a game in the first place? How did you know that you enjoy playing a particular sport anyway? How do you know that you actually enjoy doing something? It's because one fine day, you decided to get off your seat and try, right? You put in that effort to pick up that badminton racket, go to the court, sweat it out. You decided to dress up, go to the gym, work out. You decided to pick up yoga. You decided to read a book. You decided to pick up a game, to play it because somebody convinced you to download the game. You decided to do something. And based on that decision and action, over time, you develop that, hey, I'm actually good at this. Hey, I actually enjoy doing this. Hey, I actually like doing this. And that becomes a passion. So likewise, right now, if you don't know what your passion is, or you are thinking, I don't know what I'm going to work as, I don't know what my career will be, I don't know which industry to be at, maybe you should be mixing around with people from those industries while you have a fixed time and lower commitments. Use this opportunity, just hang out with them. I tell you and I guarantee you, a lot of us within the industry, we don't mind spending time with students, sharing experiences, or just sharing tips, or just meeting up over coffee, a short one, just to share what's going on, right? Ask all the questions you want. That's how it is. But you can only do some of these things when you are a student with a fixed timetable with lower commitments. We're slowly coming towards the end already. I promised 7 tips. We are on the 6th one right now. And it's on research and assignments. Right? A lot of us, when we see these 2 words, we're like, darn it, research and assignments again. How can this be good? How can this be a benefit for being in uni? I tell you, this is the 2 things that could really, really help you start a company. You see, as you see on screen, right, I mentioned that these 2 things are a great way to discover an opportunity or actually work on your business, because I did the exact same thing, right? I always tell this to students that I come across. These assignments that you do, a lot of us tend to take the easy way out, which is what a lot of my friends do back then. I'm sure some of you listening in would do the same thing as well, right? You actually pick the easiest topic. If there are few options for you to choose from for research and assignments, you always pick the company that's easiest. You always pick the assignments that's easiest, or you go and Google whichever that you can find the answers. That is the one that you want to do. So easy, so straightforward, right? That's what we like to do. We take the easy way out. But think about it this way. And this is what I discovered very early on in my foundation years, right? Because I was running my company back then already. What I did was that I used this opportunity to turn my assignments into actual real work. So as I shared from the very beginning, I did an IT degree, right? So some of the assignments require me to develop websites, design systems, think of solutions for particular industry, do some case studies, or for some of the business related subjects that we were forced to take, by the way, requires us to do like SWOT analysis, do some industry interview, things like that. And for some semesters, when I tried to take the easy way out, yes, it was easy. I was able to get things done, but it just felt very plain, very boring, right? But the moment I started doing it as work, as part of my business, things started to change. I realized that, hey, for a case study, research or case study assignment, I should not be searching for the easiest, but I should be researching on my competitors. I should be conducting research on the industry that I'm already interested in. And you know what? This simple tweak allowed me to gain a lot more interest in my assignment, and I'll start it far earlier than my friends, and I've done so much more than my friends in much shorter period of time. And when it comes to assignments like, hey, go out there and interview somebody, what I did was that I used this opportunity to interview all my competitors. I pick up the phone, I call them, hey, so-and-so, I am Jen, I'm a student from this particular university. Can I do a short interview with you because of this? I tell you, a lot of companies says, yes, sure, why not, come over. Right? When I go over, they show me their office, they buy me coffee, they treat me well, they answer my questions, I get my answers, and guess what? I use those answers for the benefit of my company and build what I want to build. Win-win situation. I do well for my assignment and research, I do well for my company as well. And when there was an assignment for me to build websites and build systems, guess whose website I built? I built my website. I did all the work, I submitted a copy, I worked on it a little bit more, and then uploaded it to become my company's website. And that's how I was able to effectively balance between my company, my business when I was a student throughout my 4 years, even during my final year project year when I was doing it back in university. In fact, I don't mind also telling you that back then in uni, I said I started when I was 17, but through the period of 4 years, I was running 3 different businesses while studying for my undergrad degree. People say, Jen, you are crazy. Yes. Now that I look back, I actually regret running 3 companies at one go. It's ridiculous. I shouldn't have done it because that splits my focus. But guess what? I was still able to go through all of that, grow and scale some of my businesses. And by the way, somehow, thank God, I was also able to graduate with a first-class honors. Some people say that, Jen, you must be smart or something. I tell you, I'm not smart. The only smart thing I did was to able to angle all my research and assignments with my work. That's how I'm able to put just one focus point of efforts, but yet being able to do well, score well in assignments in my studies and also in my work. Last point before I wrap up and go into Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put it down. But my last point is this. Out of the 7 things that I've shared with you today, this one also rings very true because as a startup back then when I was still in uni, there were very few resources that I could gain access to. I didn't have an office space. I didn't have my own computer that is powerful enough to do some of the work that I'll need to do. I don't have subscription to all the magazines and books that I can look for references to. I don't have the ability to go around to tell people that, hey, I'm a student, can I speak to you? But when you are in uni, right, you gain access to all these faculty resources that you can otherwise not get out of college or out of uni. Right? Think about it. You get free subscription to different things, Microsoft products, different design tools. You have unlimited access to the labs, all the tools that you have, the professors that you have on campus, the lecturers, or even the grants that is only available through schools, the competitions that you can join, the different software licenses, or even more, slightly more affordable food at the cafeteria. Now, you may look and say, these things are so simple. I can work from home. I can cook better food, cheaper food elsewhere. I can go to McDonald's. I don't need office space. Yes, sure. But since you are already on campus and these things are so-called paid for your fees already anyway, why not turn it to something useful for business? Turn your university into your business space. Now, since I've graduated, I can openly share this. Back then, I didn't dare to share it because back then I did meet some of my clients on campus. Right? I couldn't go out because I have classes. You know, I have my 8:30 class and it probably ends at 1 and then a 5 hours break in between because my net class is at 5 p.m. I didn't want to go back. I don't have no place to go, but I wanted to still run my company. How? Get my partners to come to the uni, right? So we use the library, we use the discussion rooms. Sometimes my clients meet me at the cafeteria. We still have coffee, we still discuss things, and all done on campus. So I actually utilize whatever the faculty has to offer for my business. And that's something that a lot of students tend to overlook and to just think about it as just a place to study and to get assignments done, get their degree, and leave. You see, in conclusion, right, your university life can actually be the most valuable 4 years as a student. Like, seriously, now, I'm not paid to share this, okay? I'm not asking you to say that, hey, you must join a university and whatever. Not. That's your choice to make. You are watching this, that's your choice to make. But I tell you, there is pros and cons going into one and not going to one. Sure, you can argue to say, hey, if I don't go into university, I have 4 years of my life that can do whatever I want. Sure. If you're very, very clear with what you want to accomplish, go that path. But I can tell you that many of us, myself included, perhaps at the age of 17, 18-year-old, we don't know what on earth we want. We need that time. And I know that if I'm just going to not enroll and sit at home on my sofa, I will not be able to discover what I'm truly good at and what I can actually do. But going through university gave me 4 years of time. 4 years is quite a bit of time to reevaluate, to discover my passion, and to find what I'm really good at. The best thing of all, right, is that in these 4 years, because of your fixed timetable, because of the faculty resources you can get access to, because of the lower commitments that you need to commit yourself to, that gives you a very safe environment to keep experimenting on ideas. That's why I was brave enough to start 3 companies, although 2 of them failed, only 1 carried forward after graduation. It's fine because I was still a student. What's the worst that could potentially happen? Think about it. The worst could be all my businesses fail, all my passion projects did not work out, but as I graduate, I can still get a job somewhere. And that still becomes my experience, and that still becomes something that gives me advantage above my peers. But if you're going to spend your next 4 years in university just going through a normal student life, or you don't enroll in university and you just try outside doing whatever you want 4 years randomly, can you save for yourself 4 years later? You will definitely be better than you were 4 years back. I challenge some of you that's listening right now. I really, really challenge you. If you're already in university, I don't care whether you're a year 1 student or a year 3 student, in whatever course you are, ask yourself, are you still the same person as you were in terms of skill, in terms of mindset, in terms of passion as day 1? If it's the same, you are in trouble. If you are lesser than before, you are in greater trouble. If you are better, my question to you is, how much better are you? Because if you're not using these 4 years to your advantage and you don't recognize how valuable this 4 years is to you as a student, you are losing out. There are more than 7 things I could share with you, but given time, I'm able to only go through 7 very briefly. But really, use this today as a turning point for the university lives that you have remaining ahead or the ones that you're going to start. I always end all my sessions with this particular quote because it is something that I hold very close to my heart. I always believe that what defines a good student, even right now that as I'm an employer running multiple businesses within the region, I find and I differentiate a good student not so much of their results, although that is a good one to make as a reference point, not so much of their skills as well, although of course skills are important, but more importantly is the mindset. Because if you as a graduate or you as a young working adult tuning in right now, if you don't have the right mindset in play, that is the world you're going to live in. You're just going to limit yourself to this circle or this box, right? That's all. That's how much you can go. But if you're able to see beyond that, and if you put your mindset to say, look, I'm going to use my free time today after work or in between classes to explore a passion. I'm going to learn how to code. I'm going to learn how to cook. I'm going to learn how to design. I'm going to learn how to create a game. I'm going to learn how to do this. I tell you, and I can guarantee you, if you do this consistently, your life will change. The size of the live game you play will be enlarged. You will get the experience that you need. You will have whatever it takes to bring you to the next level. So don't stay the same. Your mindset determines the size of the live game you play. Feel free to drop me questions, whether it's through chat or you can follow me on some of my social media platforms. And if you want to learn more about how digital can help you build your company, please do get a copy of the book that I've just written by scanning the QR code or through the URL below. But that's it from me today. The 7 areas that you can take control of as a student to redefine your university life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Questions, please.
Wow, wow, wow. What a wonderful sharing. I'm not sure for those who are actually listening now, but at least Jen actually really inspired me and motivated me. At least I learned I should use my time wisely. I remember my university life. During the break time, the 3-4 hours, what I'm used is sleep in the library and go out with my friend for shopping. Yeah. So thank you again for your sharing. So now is our Q&A session. Everyone feel free to drop in your questions at our comment area. So, okay, this one, the first question. Do you miss university life?
Do I miss university life? Actually, yes, I do miss university life quite a bit. And it's the main reason I miss it is not so much of the friends and all that, although I do miss some of the freedom. I think I miss it the most because right now my days are packed. Like it's just meetings after meetings, right? It's especially during this MCO period when we are partial lockdown and all of that. My timing is either client meetings, client calls, webinars like this, and it starts as early as 7, 8 a.m. It goes all the way to late at night. And if you compare this to my university days, that was days with a lot more clarity, a lot more focus, a lot more time for me to discover who or what I want to be. So yes, I really miss university life a lot. I actually wish I could redo my whole university life again, to make better use, even more better use of my time. But that's something I really do miss.
Welcome you to come back here for master and PhD program.
Oh well, I've actually completed my masters as well. So I completed my masters also in APU.
I mean another one.
Another one. Okay, that's something to consider.
All right, so we have a question from Jerry Chong. If you can go back in time to restart university, is there anything that you would change or do differently?
Oh yes, I would I mentioned just now, right? Well, one of the first things I would do is that I would really want to start a lot earlier than I did, because I spent, I think, 2 semesters really questioning myself on what can I really do. And at that point of time, there was a lot of lost time. I was doing a lot of research of different things. I was trying different things. I was a TA, a technical assistant in APU once for a bit, just to figure out, right? So I was going through this whole explorative phase, not knowing what I really wanted. I almost became a librarian as well, just because, it's accessible. So if I were to able to go into uni again, the first thing I would do is start much earlier, from the very beginning, to already maximize these 7 things that I've been sharing. And the second thing I will also do very different is to tap fully into the resources, or using that batch as a student to its maximum potential, to actually build better connections with all the lecturers that I have. I'm very thankful for some of the lecturers that still I keep very close in touch with. In fact, one of my ex-lecturers is actually one of my business partners right now for one of my ventures outside of Open Minds. But I wish I would have actually created even stronger bonds with more lecturers, or within the education industry as a whole, because these networks are very, very valuable even until today.
Okay. So the next one from Muhammad Azim. What if I really want to use my free time to do something productive, but I can't find any good opportunity or any ideas?
I love this question, right? When it comes to opportunity, when it comes to ideas, I understand how difficult it is sometimes to really just look for one, or to wait for one to come. But the irony is, right, it's when it comes to good opportunities or ideas, these are things where you cannot find by just sitting down somewhere idle. You actually need to put some action to it for you to discover new ideas. Let me give you a very simple example, right? Many of us don't understand this, but it happens to us. Sometimes when you are stuck maybe doing an assignment, or something that you're doing that's very repetitive and boring, and you don't find inspiration, right? And then you take a walk somewhere, maybe you go to the washroom, right? And then while doing your business over there, somehow an idea came. Or it's late at night and you're tired and you just don't want to do anything, you take a shower, and then somehow you get new inspiration and ideas as well. And that's exactly how sometimes opportunities and ideas come. You actually need to get yourself out of your regular routine, break it to something different, put yourself in a situation where opportunities will come. So if I give you another example that actually happened to me, right? So when I first started my company, all these companies were started with zero capital. We spent zero in advertising. After all, I was a student. I was a 17-year-old. I didn't come from a huge financial background. So I didn't really have money, right? But I knew the importance of getting clients. So what I did was that I knew that if I'm just going to sit down, more clients will come to me. That's fact. So what I did was that I just put myself out there. I called newspapers to ask them if they can sponsor a free advertisement slot for me. Back then, Facebook and all wasn't very popular yet, but that's where I posted. I went to forums, I went to Laoyat forums, I went to all the different forums, put up my name. Over time, more opportunities actually open up. In fact, it's not just clients. One fine day, I remember this day very, very clearly until today. One day, Seagate from the US, the hard disk manufacturer, right, was actually looking for a partner to represent them in Southeast Asia for data recovery. I was shocked. On the phone when I picked up, I asked them, how did you actually find me? I'm just a small, of course I didn't tell them I was a small guy. I just asked them, how did you actually discover me? How do you find me? They said, well, all we did was that I went to Google, I searched up who are the IT companies that do data recovery in Malaysia, and your name came up, so we would like to meet you. It's like, sure, why not? Now, here's the thing. To cut the long story short, you went well, and then we became a legal aggregated partner. But the crux of the story here, right, is that if I have not put any action to put myself out there, this opportunity would have never happened. I will not start my company. I will not spend the time just randomly putting up my name, putting some branding, some awareness for myself. This opportunity will not happen at all. So you need to ask yourself, what kind of opportunities are you looking for? Is it a business opportunity, or is it an opportunity to learn? Is it an opportunity to start something? Is it an opportunity to experience something? Whichever these categories are, you will then need to find ways to make yourself known so that the opportunity can come to you. It's not something where you sit down and say, oh, I want to have the opportunity to produce my first music album. And then just sitting down and listening to music every day on Spotify makes you an artist. That's what happened that way, right? You need to start somewhere by picking up a guitar, sing a song, post something, get connected with some other singers, be in the local music scene. Then this opportunity will happen. So simple. One, recognize what opportunity you want. Two, put certain effort to be recognized in the industry or within the area. Then three, the opportunity will happen over time.
Okay. So, this was very interesting. How do you manage to convince your family, your client, your investor out there in the industry as a fresh graduate, young and unexperienced in the initial state of the startup?
Great. Very, very good question. To answer this question, let me tell you that it was even worse for me because I wasn't even a fresh graduate. I was a 17-year-old guy trying to get business going, right? First things first, family. Number one, family did not support me at all. My family, very typical Asian, Malaysian, Chinese family, say, Jen, you have your entire life ahead to run or work for somebody. Why start now? Just study, get good results, become so and so and so, right? Get a good job, go to a good company, etc. It was really, really tough, to be honest. And throughout my entire education life, this support did not come from my parents. In fact, this support did not come only until the recent years when I actually achieved some tangible success through my business. Then only I heard the words of my parents saying that they support and believe in what I do. So that is very, very tough. However, on the family perspective, especially on parents, I have heard some encouraging stories from some of my friends that are also entrepreneurs. I remember one of my friend telling me that when he decided to start his company, he actually did an entire PowerPoint presentation, a business pitch, right? Sat down in a living room, the parents over there, and pitch why is it important for him to do this. And he actually put out personal guarantee that it won't affect his studies. So he actually laid conditions, negotiated with the parents, and the parents actually said, okay. So that could be one way for you to convince. In my case, my parents didn't buy that. They were just very against me running my company for their own reasons. But when it deals with clients, right, it's not just clients. In my case, was even suppliers. I always use this story because it's always very fresh in my mind. When I was running my first company, I was just 17 years old. I called my suppliers over the phone, right? And on the phone, we negotiated. The deal was going fine and all that. But when I met them face to face and I introduced myself, they would always ask me this one question without fail. Where's your father? And I will always be in a very questionable state, like, why do you want to meet my father? I mean, he's at work somewhere, at home, I don't know. Why trying to meet my father? Little did I know that they thought the person talking to them over the phone is the father, not me. And when they recognize it's me, there's always this sense of skepticism. There's always this, oh, okay, it's you. So it's as though I'm trying to con them and all that. So at that point of time, I tried very hard to sound older, dress older, buy older looking clothes, just to comb my hair in a certain way, just to add the few years to look a bit more reputable. But that's the extent that I went. Even when I went and meet clients, right, that's the exact same thing they've done. So I've always put on a suit. I've always been wearing leather shoes. So back then I need to look older. Now I need to look younger, right? So it's the reverse. But it's such an interesting time because there's a lot of convincing. For the earlier clients, I needed to prove to them. I would tell them things like, look, I'll do this for you. If this works, you pay. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. Right? So it's to put up certain collaterals up front to actually win the trust of the clients even at a young age. Now, I can't speak so much about investors because all my companies are bootstrapped. I've never raised a single fund. I always believe that companies run on profit more than raising venture capitalists. Of course, a lot of arguments over here. But all 8 companies that have built $1 million or not are all run on zero investment. So 100% owned by me and my directors. But one thing I can tell you for sure right now, in this particular generation, investors are open to young entrepreneurs. On the Forbes list, right, when I made the Forbes list back in 2017, we went to the Forbes Summit in Manila, where all the leaders around Asia gathered. It was a very exciting event, of course. Everybody was very excited, the energy was high. And then I met this girl that also made the Forbes list. She looked very young, right? And I was very surprised. And, oh, okay, what do you do? You know, how old are you? And she told me that, oh, it was very simple. You know, she came from a very poor village and she invented this rain harvesting machine that can change rainwater into drinking water that is safe to be drank. That's how she made the Forbes list. Oh, wow, that's very cool. How old are you? 12. I made the Forbes list when I was 30. She made the Forbes list when she was 12. So I can tell you that when it comes to entrepreneurship, over the years, the age range is going lower and lower. Investors would be more than happy to speak to a younger person today. So don't be too worried for it. If anything, worry about your family, because receiving the support is going to be very important, and it's one of encouragement through your entrepreneurship journey. But the next will be your clients and your clients. Because these are the two important things you need to make your company run anyway.
Well, I don't think it's actually called wear older. So for you to look older, it's look more professional, right? So as you remember, APU always have the rules on attire. You have to wear formal every day when you come for classes. Okay, so we go to the next questions. So do you have any advice and what not to do for any college graduates who is actually thinking to start up a business after graduating?
Nice. The one thing not to do is to not just talk and don't do anything, right? Don't do nothing. You need to start somewhere. I think a lot of college students today, right, because of the media, because of what you are listening out there, you are seeing a lot of young entrepreneurs coming out being so-called successful, building very big companies with very big dreams. And this has put down an invisible peer pressure, a global peer pressure, right, towards a lot of young graduates or young students thinking that if I want to succeed or I want to build something, a business, it has to be big. I need investors coming in at 1 million, 10 million, $1 billion. I need to have a huge tech team. I need to have a nice office. I need to have a lot of subscribers. And this huge dream, I tell you, even in the scene of already established entrepreneurs, it's very, very rare. That's why you don't see too many Grabs around. You don't see too many Airbnbs around. You don't see too many Facebooks around. You don't see many of these unicorns around for a reason, right? Not many companies can immediately reach the stage in such short amount of time. And even if you're referring to some of these companies, you need to understand that all these companies also started very, very small. Facebook started in a dorm. Grab started off with a fleet of taxis that he had to beg and convince to join. Every company started very, very small. So for students or college graduates that are thinking of starting up a business, it's okay to dream big, but it's even more important to be able to be willing to start small. So what if you have no investors? So what if you don't have a nice office? Rough it out, get your first client first. It's more important to be profitable than to have that impression that you're doing very well. I'd rather have 10 paying customers than 0 customers with $100,000 investment from an investor. You know why? When investor gives you money, it's not free money, you know. It's actually a loan. They expect returns. And if you keep failing investors, over time, people don't want to loan you money anymore. And then that will also hurt your reputation in the industry. So it's okay to think big, but always remember to start small. Don't build something that is too big to handle, is too expensive to handle. Just find your first small step and take that. Right? That would be your first step as a graduate wanting to start your first company.
All right, thank you for your advice. So maybe we go to the last question. Okay, from me.
Sure.
All right, we don't go to our university students. We go down to those SPM level, UEC level, those that actually have just finished exam and they're still wandering around. So do you have any advice to them how to choose a good university and good course for them to study?
I can relate very well to this particular question, right? Because I remember I went through the same dilemma back then. Now, back then, I wasn't entrepreneurial and all that. That was the last thing on my mind. I didn't even want to start a business. If you speak to the 16, 17-year-old me back then, you know, I came out of high school, I did all the psychometric tests, and they tell me I'm a very good accountant and things like that. Like, seriously, accountant, is that one to become? I have no clue. So what I decided at the end, I actually narrowed down to a few universities. So I did the usual, right? I went to all the fairs, I went to all the open days just to see the campus and all that. Of course, some campus looks a lot more inviting than some. We won't name names here, but some of them I went in and okay, maybe not. Some I went in and okay, this is quite cool. But what became the deal breaker for me, to be very honest, without biases as well, it's actually less of the degrees or less of the where the certification came from. What I actually looked at was what kind of skills that I can get out of the course. So I paid a lot of attention going through all the modules of all the programs that I'm looking at. So I compared, let's say I was only looking between business and IT courses. I narrowed between these two. These are my two interests back then, right? I wouldn't call it a passion. It was just an interest. So I went through all the universities that had shortlists. I went through all their modules to see what are the type of skills I can build. So when I go through all the business ones, I realized that most of the business courses requires me to do a lot of accounts. I asked myself, is accounting a skill I want to build? I said no. So I ruled out business course entirely. Now all the IT courses in front of me. So then I started comparing different universities and different programs, right? I started to see which offers me the skill set that I want. Back then, I was very fascinated with websites. It's a boom of internet. There's a lot of web development, web systems, web companies coming up. So I wanted to choose a college or university that offers a degree that allows me to really further these web technologies that I'm very, very interested in. After looking at a few, I actually stumbled upon, of course, APIT or APU back then, that was able to fulfill some of this criteria of mine, right? Because there were a lot of programming languages that I needed to learn. There was a lot of aspects of multimedia and web development that I had to learn, and that's why I eventually chose that. But to be very honest, it was also a very close call between another uni. But at the end of the day, it was the quality of or the range of things I can tangibly take away to give me the confidence of the course.
Okay, thank you, Jen, for your sharing. Well, we're really proud to have you as our alumni here. So, hope everyone have listened over here. You have a clearer picture on how to plan for your future. All right, remember at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. tonight, we have another session with the topic of importance of postgraduate study in the post-COVID-19 employment. So it's good for those graduating students to further studies and also for those working adults who wish to change your field. All right, stay tuned and follow our Facebook page for more updates. So once again, come to join APU Open Day on this weekend, 11 to 12 July from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also do get a copy of the book from Jen Wong. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today. So to wrap up, Jen, do you have any things you want to share?
No, I think I've said it pretty well. I'll just wrap it up to say that if you want to change your future, you really, really need to pay more attention to today and take action right here, right now.
Yeah, choose APU. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.